Oliver from Rugby League, in my opinion, here today, and we are back with yet another quiz. I'm joined today by a good friend of mine. His name is Sturk, but he also runs the Rugby League page, Rugby League Lounge, on Instagram and on YouTube. So make sure you check those out. And he is a massive Melbourne Storm fan. So today we're going to be quizzing him on a bit of Melbourne Storm history. How are you today, Sturk?
Hey Ollie, yeah, no, I'm doing well, mate. I'm hoping to do myself, justice here. And like you said, I'm a Storm fan, but hopefully the numbers back it up after this one.
Yeah, well, we've recently just had our lowest score, our first person to actually finish below 50%. That was the shirtless Titans fan who got 4 out of 10. Still, though, the highest score we have gotten is a 7 out of 10, which it's a tie between Jai Hitchcocks of Toulouse Olympic, who have just been promoted to Super League, David Mead from the Brisbane Broncos, and Griffin Neame, of course, a good friend of yours from the
Yes.
North Queensland Cowboys, who I've just remembered upon reading him out, he's a childhood friend of yours. So you're going to want to be aiming for first. You want to be beating Griffin here.
That's my motivation, mate. That's all you needed to say. It's game on now. If I wasn't fired up already, mate, you can guarantee I am now.
Well, he's fired up. We might as well get into the first question, which is the Storm have beaten 2 teams by 64 points in club history. Can you name those 2 teams? If you get one right, you get 0.5 of a point.
Ooh. Okay. Let's think this out. I remember us doing a real decent job. So this is across our whole history, I'm guessing.
Yep,
Not just
98 onwards.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Rabbitohs. And I'm not gonna think too hard about this because there's nothing off the top of my head, but I do remember a game against the Raiders we did quite a hefty score on. But maybe I should just think a little bit on it. But I think I'm gonna lock in the Rabbitohs and the Raiders, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what, considering you didn't really think about this one, you said you were just going to go in and answer it. You've actually got one of them correct.
Cool.
So you've got 0.5. The answer was the Canberra Raiders, who you guys beat in 2013, 68-4. That's probably the game you're thinking of there. But the other one was a bit tricky. The Melbourne Storm beat the West Tigers 64-0 in 2001. So unfortunately, only 0.5 of a point there. We move on now to our second question. This should be an easy one. How many games is the longest winning streak in Melbourne Storm history?
Obviously, it happened this season.
Yeah, it was this year.
But
they tied the all-time record.
Yeah, but I always get confused with the number we got or the number we didn't get.
Okay, yeah, because they were going to break the record, which was a certain number, but they didn't. They tied the record, which was obviously one number below.
Oh, gosh. Just trying to think what round we lost against the Parramatta Eels. Because we versed the Sharks in the last round. Did we play another game after that? And I don't think we did. If that's the case, there's 24 games in a season. God, I should know. Yeah, it's really bad. I should know this. Is it 19 or 20? Did we play anyone directly after the Eels? I have a feeling there's someone I'm forgetting here. I think 19. I'm going with 19.
Correct. 19 in a row. So the winning streak started in round 4.
Yeah.
And you were incorrect, though, because there's 25 games played in this season. From next year, 26 games.
Oh, yeah.
So what would that be? Round 4 until, well, what's 20 after that? Round 24, round 23. So I think you're correct in that there was a game before the Sharks game after the Eels game, which Melbourne, I think, bounced back in. I actually don't know off the top of my head who that was. I forget too. But yeah, you're correct. We've got 1.5 so far, and that's all that matters. The third question now, interesting one. In 2000, the Storm scored 70 points in a game and then conceded 50 points to the same team in the same year, 2000. Who was the team? So in 2000, they versed a team twice. In the first game, they scored 70 points against them. In the second game, they conceded 50.
I feel like I've heard something like this of recent. I don't know if it was in reference to the Storm, but it was, similar in the vein as you had a huge score against and then conceded a bit. Cowboys is springing to my head for some reason.
I'll give you a bit of a hint that might guide you a bit if you need help. So the hint is it was on both occasions, it was a big matchup due to recent events, we can say.
Dragons.
Correct.
Cool.
I didn't know whether you'd get it straight away from that, but yeah, so pretty much we like to get excited, of course, this year when the Melbourne Storm and Penrith Panthers played each other, ended up being 3 times, but 2 times in the regular season as a rematch for the 2020 grand final. Well, after the 1999 grand final, the Melbourne Storm in round 1 would go on, I think it was 70-10 to beat the Dragons, and then I think it might have been 50-0 or 50-4 or something. The Dragons would hit back there. So interesting, but you got it right. You've got 2.5 so far.
Cheers, mate.
Up next, which player has not scored more than 100 tries for the Melbourne Storm? Billy Slater, Matt Geyer, or Josh Adokar?
Now, I think this is a trick question because Josh Adokar brought up 100 tries this year, but I think he might have got some for the Tigers. Saying that, Matt Geyer, did he get 100? Did he get 100? I don't think Matt Geyer has got 100 either, though. So has Josh done it enough for the Storm?
This is just, I guess, a little bit of extra information. These 3 players are the top 3 try scorers in Melbourne Storm history.
Yeah. I'm going to go if Josh Adokar has not scored them more than 100 tries for the Storm.
Correct. Josh Adokar has scored 96 tries for the Melbourne Storm, so he was close. And he, the way I've actually got it listed here, I probably should have shaken it up a bit, but in the end, it didn't matter. The way I've got it here is in the order. Yeah, Billy Slater first, Matt Geyer second, Josh Adokar third. So what's that? That's 3.5 now. We move on to the 5th question. Who has scored the most tries in a game for the Melbourne Storm?
Josh Adokar.
Yeah, correct. This year, scored 6 tries. Moving on. So we got a 4.5 now.
I'm coming, Griff.
Who has scored the second most points for the Storm? This is club history. The second, because the first is obviously Cameron Smith. So who's the second?
Yeah. Just trying to think who might have been kicking goals. Could easily be Billy, just in the sense of just the amount of tries he scored. Look, I'm trying to think if Matt Geyer kicked goals as well. Doesn't scream like he did for me. It's out of... But I know Brett Camorley was kicking some goals here and there, I think. Yeah, a little bit before my time. I'm tossing between Slater because of the tries, Geyer because of the tries and some goal kicking. And Brett Camorley, probably none of them. Let's go with Matt Geyer.
Matt Geyer is a very good guess. However, it is incorrect. The answer is Matt Orford, who scored 877 points for the Melbourne Storm. Of course, he would go on to play for the Manly Sea Eagles and he'd lose to the Melbourne Storm in the 07 grand final, then beat the Melbourne Storm in the 08 grand final the same year he won the Dalian medal. So, yeah, Matt Alford, 877 points in total for the club, the second most points in club history by a single player. So we're still on 4.5. We now move to who has scored the most points in a season for the Storm.
Oh, well, it's like you almost want to scream and shout Cameron Smith. But that just seems to, yeah. Rob, I wish this was the question with Ryan Pappenhausen after a full season. The most points scored in the season. We said Matty Orford. Ryan Pep. Surely it's not Ryan Pappenhausen. I've got it. Oh. Just trying to think. Cameron Smith will know. Nah, got to be Cameron Smith. He's played too much. Surely. Smith.
You're going to be kicking and screaming for this one because the answer to this question was your answer for the last question. The answer is Matt Geyer scored 242 points in season 1999, the year Melbourne would win their first premiership. So again, still only a 4.5. I thought you would have at least thought of him because you have thought of him in the past couple of questions. So
yeah. To be fair, I know I was unsure about the goal kicking thing, to be fair. And and then because of that, I was unsure if he was consistently goal kicking. And it's definitely well before I started watching 2003. And yes, I have a little bit of memory of Guy, but yeah, damn.
So in that season, I forget off the top of my head how many goals he kicked exactly, but he scored 20 tries. So he was scoring tries and kicking goals that season.
Yep.
Next question. Who has scored the most points in a game for the Storm?
Who has scored the most points for a game for the Storm? I almost want to say it was Ryan Pappenhausen this year, but so obviously it's going to be someone that's kicking the goals. God, it's not good. You wouldn't do me Guy back to back, would you? You wouldn't do that to me.
Well, we don't.
Is it GI? Because he might have had a game where he kicked goals and scored as well. You know what? Oh, mate, what do I want to lock in? I think that's risk saying Greg Inglis because of normally not the normal goal kicker. Has anyone in recent year been? Nah. Would you stitch him up? I'm just going to say Matt Guy.
So, in 2021, Ryan Pappenhausen would score 4 tries and kick 5 goals against the Brisbane Broncos to score 26 points in a single game, which is the second most points a Melbourne Storm player has scored in a single game. Because scoring 4 tries and kicking 9 goals against the Western Suburbs Magpies in 1999, scoring a total of 34 points, was indeed Matt Geyer. Correct. Right, 5 points. So they're the top two. The two that you were really tossing between before you were thinking of GI are the top two. Matt Geyer, 34 points in that game against the Magpies. So he scored the most points in a single season for the Storm in 99, scored the most points in a single game for the Storm in 99. Of course, as I said, they went on to win the premiership that year. We're at 5.5. We've got 2 questions left. You can finish with 7.5 and take the lead, but you've got to get the next 2 questions. Who is the oldest player to ever play for the Melbourne Storm?
Cameron Smith.
Correct.
Sweet.
Cameron Smith, 37 years of age. And of course, it's a certain amount of days as well, but I don't think anyone else has ever played at 37 for the Storm. And he played his final game in the 2020 grand final against the Panthers, of course. 6.5 out of 10. The next one, if you get it correct, I think there's a good chance you might, but we'll see it. That's all I'll say. And you take the lead.
Roger.
Who has been sin binned the most in Melbourne Storm history?
Who's been sin binned the most in Melbourne Storm history? There must be someone that's just Look, there's a couple players that are screaming out at me, but no one major. Sin binned as in
10 minutes in the bin.
10 minutes in the bin. Oh.
Not a send off. Sin bin.
God, there must be someone obvious. I'm thinking of someone. I'm thinking Will Chambers. But I don't want to lock that in. Probably not. Adam Blair's another one. Obviously, the brookie. Was he there long enough? Probably not. Smith only got sent off twice. Look, who's played a lot of games for us? That's probably a big hint as well. That's why Will Chambers has stints elsewhere. Who's the front row? It's not GC Bromwich. He wouldn't. I don't even know if he's. Oh God, from Griffin, who won't hold us over. Look, Michael Crocker. Will Chambers.
Okay. So this player has been sin binned a total of 5 times for the Melbourne Storm.
Oh, surely.
In round 2017, the 2017 quarterfinal, in round 18 of 2018, round 23 of 2018.
Yeah.
And twice in the 2018 NRL Grand Final. You know who it is straight away now. It's Cameron Munster.
Wow. I would never guess that. Like, I know I was there at the grand final. And obviously not going to forget that anytime soon, but crazy. I wouldn't have got that. I'm not too gutted about that because, wouldn't have. Yeah, even though obviously. You carry on.
I thought you would have been a good. I genuinely thought Cameron Munster would at least pass by your train of thought, as in you might have thought, or maybe Munster, I don't know, but it is Cameron Munster. A bit surprising he's actually not been sin binned since 2018 because there have been a few incidents. He's been put on report plenty of times since then, I think, but he's not actually spent time in the bin. But yeah, Cameron Munster, and every single sin bin happened within 2 years, 2017 and 2018, which is nuts. So you've finished with a total score of 6.5 out of 10. That will put you, as I've got to work it out with the leaderboard. So you got Hitchcocks, Mead, and Neem on 7 out of 10, tied first. And then I think it'll be, tied fifth with Manly supporter and Uruguay Rugby League head coach Adam Wright, US international and Broncos fan Christian Freed. And you'll be tied fifth with them. So not a bad effort. One of the better efforts that we've seen here. You started off strong, then maybe slipped away a bit towards the end. Still got a couple in there. A good effort with the first question. We do like to look back and, see the questions you got wrong, how sort of close you were. you got 0.5 on the first question. You still got the Raiders there. The second one, the longest winning streak, it was hard, but you got it just. And you got the third one too, who they scored 70 points against and conceded 52 in the same year, 2000. Which player has not scored more than 100 tries? You got that correct. You got the next one correct. The second most points in a season, that's where you guessed Matt Geyer, but the answer was Matt Orford. And the next two, the answer was Matt Geyer. You didn't get who has scored the most points in a season for the Storm. Second most, the most points in a season for the Storm. I believe you went with Cam Smith on that one. And then you got it right with Matt Geyer the next time. Who was the oldest player to ever play for the Storm? Cam Smith. But who has been sin bin the most in Storm history? I would still say a respectable guess because you actually did pick someone who would have been playing, I'd say, in all of those games that Munster got sin binned in Will Chambers. At least he was a part of the team at the time. So 6.5 out of 10, a respectable effort. If a couple of questions maybe just went the other way, or you just maybe went with that person you were thinking of, or maybe if you were nudged in a certain direction, then you would have gotten 7.5 out of 10. It would have been taking over on the leaderboard. But I should say as well, you've also come into this completely blind. A couple of people, as you know, we don't keep it a secret. Sometimes I send the questions beforehand, and players can choose if they want to do a bit of research or not. Sometimes they do a little bit, not always, because they don't want to know every single answer. But you've come in completely blind. Now, the Rugby League Guru and Shirtless Titans fans who got 5 out of 10 and 4 out of 10 respectively both went in blind as well. Arguably, if they had a bit of time to research, well, if they went deep into it, you get 10 out of 10. But if you had received the questions beforehand, which I was a bit rushed in getting the questions done, so I didn't actually ask you, but if you had got them beforehand, then you're probably looking up towards a 10 based off of what you got here. So what do you think of your efforts here today, Sturk?
Oh, well, it's funny because obviously we're famous for having the asterisks on a couple of our premierships. I think Griffin Neame deserves an asterisk on his one at the moment. But overall, I'm pretty happy. Obviously, a few that could have, obviously got me over the hump. The Matt Guy one, if I kind of went through my same logic of the first one. But I was pretty happy. That first one you threw out. I remember that Raiders game. I think it was when Milford was playing for the Raiders. So that stuck in my mind. And I was thinking about the Rabbitohs game, even though I got it wrong. There was a Rabbitohs game where Vunivalu and Addo Carr scored 100-metre tries. But I'm not too upset about that because 2000 was before my time, obviously. So, overall pretty happy. And, bloody Munster letting me down. But oh well, I'll live.
Yeah, unfortunately, Munster was the letdown there, but you still got 6.5 out of 10. Again, tied fifth, but really second. You 0.5 of a point off of first place. But other than that, I think we'll wrap it up here. Sturk, I want to thank you for jumping on. Make sure you go to Instagram and YouTube to check out the Rugby League Lounge, the page that Sturk runs. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.